All right, what is going on, world? Welcome to Elevate the World podcast, episode 5. We're going to be focusing on fad diets versus healthy diets, kind of what we do, and then kind of talk about maybe the pros and cons of these fad diets, what we've done in the past that maybe worked or haven't worked, and we'll go about that. So first things first, we're going to start off with our quote. So Ange, let's lead us off for us.
Okay, so lover or hater, for this episode, I had to quote Jillian Michaels. Okay, she does have a lot of good tips for people, a little too much celebrity base. I get that, but she started just like us. She really did. So her quote is, "It's not about being perfect. It's about effort. When you bring that effort every single day, that's where transformation happens. That's how change occurs."
Love that.
Awesome. I love it. I always talk about not perfection, but progress, or progress, not perfection, right?
Right.
You're always
exactly.
trying to no one's ever perfect. You're going to be perfect at something. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have obstacles. So working your way around that, kind of finding what works for you. And just as long as you keep working towards it, you have the right intent for it. That's what's going to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Part.
All right. So let's talk about what we have done personally. All right. So I'll kick us off. I have never been one to actually try like a specific diet or plan in the past. The only diet I could say I've ever tried and that I was successful with for a short period of time was intermittent fasting. I did it because the trainers at my gym in LA at Circuit Works, my GM, Katie, she wanted to do kind of like a coworker challenge, like who can lose the most weight in 2 months. So we kind of like had a little challenge, and then it was one of those things. I was like, why didn't I get invited? They're like, well, you don't have too much to lose. I'm like, I want to be like on this, I can still like, I can reap the benefits of this.
Don't count me out.
Don't count me out.
I know. Everybody always counts the trainer out for challenges. Like, we're human. We need that also.
Man.
Exactly. I was like,
we're not robots.
Exactly. I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna get in on this just because it'll hold me accountable. And I needed something like that, I felt like. So I tried intermittent fasting. I was like, why not? Didn't know too much about it, kind of knew a couple of clients that did it, and I heard some good things about it, kind of did a little research on it. And basically intermittent fasting is fasting for 16 hours of the day and eating for only 8. So basically what you're doing is for those 16 hours that you're not eating, you're putting your body in a state of ketosis, which is creating ketones, which is used as fuel because now you're using fats instead of carbs because you're kind of limiting yourself on carbs. Yeah, I'm eating carbs during that 8 hours, but that 16-hour window when you don't have any carbs, that's where your body starts to kind of go into your fat storage. It was pretty rough for me. I did more of like a 7-15 kind of thing, just because, or not 7:15. Am I doing the math right here? Yeah, 7:15. 9:15. Sorry, math is not my strong suit. Math is hard.
It's okay, Scotty. We know, bro. Trainers can't count, man.
Right.
Hey, if it's
count
not
down.
and if it's only plates or barbells or dumbbells, that's the only way we can count.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Increments of 45, I'm good. I got that. So basically I would start eating at, I want to say 11 o'clock. And then I would stop eating at 7 o'clock. All right. I just
And
kind of
this
get
is
all
AM. Okay, 11 a.m.
AM. 11
And
a.m.
you ate
to
till
7
p.m.
And it was tough because like I would wake up at 4 o'clock and I would have to teach all the way to 11. But then I also didn't go to bed super early. So it was just like I got most of my cravings at night. So it was definitely tough. I would get my workouts in the morning. I found what you could do is you could drink coffee because it doesn't have enough. You can't be above a certain amount of calories.
I think it's like 50. I think it's like 50 calories, like above 50 calories, something like that.
50 because then you break your fast unless it's fat. You could have healthy fat. So what I was doing there's a coffee shop out there called Bulletproof Coffee. You might have heard of them. There's a podcast of them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm a fan.
used to use their
Yeah.
NCT oil. So that would help kind of keep you
Yes.
fuller because it was straight triglycerides, put in the coffee, actually made black coffee taste a little bit more bearable because I was not a coffee guy at the time. And it kind of got me through the morning, got me through the workout, and then boom, I would stuff my face from 11 to 7 and then cut it off there. I ended up losing like a good amount of weight. I got like lean, probably the most lean I'd been since like high school at that time. This was like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So that was definitely reaped the benefits, but it was definitely something I could not do all the time. And that's just me personally. I know Prince, I know you do some fasting currently. I'm not sure if you do the intermittent fasting, but I just know
Yeah,
for
bro.
me, it was not something I can maintain. But as like a kind of a quick thing, I thought it was pretty good. I know a couple members at 45 had done that. I know it can be a little hassle to either maintain or build muscle because you're not getting the amount of calories and protein that you need throughout the whole day. So it could be a little limited. If you're trying to lose weight, though, I think it is a pretty, I would say, a short-term way to kind of get you to your goal if that's something you might want to do. Obviously, not for everybody. I mean, you kind of pick and choose your diets. And then the other diet I've always done is seafood. I see food and I eat it.
Oh man, I was about to say, yeah, man, the less legs the better. But all right, you got
Oh,
jokes.
you got Scotty, you had me for a second there. I was like, I've never heard of this one before.
I
Really?
was like, yeah, man.
Seafood, yeah.
So why you tell us about this? You been keeping secrets, man.
That's honestly what I've always done. I used to just always eat, snack. I was like, all right, cool, I'm getting my calories. And that's how I was able to put on muscle, I feel like, because I was always lifting heavy and doing that. So the amount of calories I was eating was definitely helping with weight. But obviously with large amount of weight gain or muscle gains, you're going to get fat gain as well because of that increase in calories.
A little bit.
So that's what I've done in the past. Prince, let's hear about kind of what you've done in the past and what's worked and what hasn't.
Man, I got a long list, but I'm just like reflecting back on just the journey overall, man. And I'll say it, dude, when I started off just exercising, all right, and then I realized that diet played a huge part in it. So I started off with calories, man. I like went to like random websites to try to find out how many calories like I burnt based on metabolic rate. Started educating myself on that, and I started with calories, just like being in a caloric deficit to lose weight, and that worked for a little bit. After a while, it didn't get sustainable because I wasn't tracking properly, but I also I started to lose muscle, and like I just wasn't achieving what I was trying to get to. So then that's when I looked into macros. And all in all, man, like I'd say even like what I still do to this day when I'm not like trying to jot down everything is I track my calories and my protein intake and I keep my carbs complex. And like I like to treat my calories like money, man. And I want to get more bang for my buck. So like I tell my clients is the amount of protein that you can get in. But if the goal is to be in a caloric deficit, then like how can we utilize this in a way where we can still feel full but not be in a caloric surplus if the goal is to lose weight or to be lean. So like I always give like the comparison of like a cup of rice, usually about 100 calories versus a cup of broccoli, about 30 calories, give or take. You know what I mean? So like I could have 3 cups of this broccoli versus that 1 cup of rice and still feel full. And this is just in simplest terms. So I say the first thing I've done and what I still do is I track calories and protein. I try to keep the carbs complex and in a sense of like going for things that have more fiber, more protein, keep me feeling fuller longer. But I'd say, y'all both know another one I'm big on is intermittent fasting, man. And I've done research on it. Like I just looked at like the overall health benefits of fasting and what it can do with the body, digesting undigested food, getting rid of toxins, and and also what it can do for if you're trying to lose weight. I started off bad for me though, dude. I would fast. My schedule was weird when we lived in Spain, so I would fast until 4 p.m. I would start at midnight though, so I would eat between 4 p.m. and midnight because my schedule was just like that. And right when 4 p.m. hit though, man, I was eating everything in sight. And so yeah, I went through the struggle of fasting and all the mental gains that can come with that. But I blew it all when, I'd go and I'd be still like eat all this food and put myself in that caloric surplus. You know what I mean? So then after learning a little bit more about it, that's when, I use it to my advantage into where it allows that concentrated hour of eating to where like I can keep it around then. I can schedule my meals out if I need to. I can even do like some calorie and macro math to see when I'm gonna get what in. So that's the thing I try. I know that on further research, what I've seen for like women is they say like, I guess no more than 14 hours, but it can vary. Everybody's different. I'll say for people who, may be in like a diabetic stage, fasting or intermittent fasting may not be most ideal. But if you can do it, I definitely say try it out just because one, like benefits can be made, like Scotty said, but there's so many mental gains to be made too. If you're only drinking water or consuming like tea or coffee during that time to stay in that deficit, like it did a lot for my mind and just giving me the discipline, which, it goes hand in hand, man. Like what you do in nutrition, what you do in the gym, it all goes back to life. So, you know what I mean? It goes full circle. So intermittent fasting and, just tracking food, what gets measured gets accounted for. So those would be the two methods that I've used. And I say that what has not worked is just probably eating that caloric surplus because it wasn't my goal to gain weight. And then not really knowing, but you learn throughout the journey. And that's why we're here to share it with y'all.
Love it. Love it. All right, Ange, what you got?
All right. So I'm speaking from a totally different perspective than both of you, because remember, I grew up in the 80s. So I remember it's now come full circle. Like I remember my mom coming home from the grocery store one day with skim milk. Fat-free milk had just come out, wheat bread, whole grains. She went to the grocery store. She came home with all of these health foods that were all the rage in the 80s. And it's funny to look back now. It just boggles my mind. It's so cool to see it come full circle. I grew up in the Weight Watchers era in the 80s. In the 80s, it was Weight Watchers. And guys, I'll tell you, the best thing for my mom and all the moms that were out there was when Weight Watchers came out with those frozen microwave meals. I mean, you would have thought they hit the lottery. Diet Coke was big. I remember when yogurts now were fat-free yogurt and was like, oh my gosh, they came out with fat-free yogurt. So I grew up with family members that were always on a diet. Okay. I remember when magazines, it was now the skinny, stick thin supermodels. I remember seeing magazines being 10, 11, and 12 years old. And it was a body image that was so unattainable and so unrealistic. And it's so cool right now to see it all changed. Now we accept all shapes, muscles. It's so crazy because, I grew up with the mindset of restrict calories. Okay. And I was fortunate enough that I never did have any issues with eating disorders. But I will tell you, there's a lot of women in their 40s that growing up that they did, because it was all about restricting calories. That was the way you lost weight. Crazy. I'm so happy to see the world has changed. I'm so happy to see body image has changed, and we could do a whole nother podcast on that. So things that I have done is I honestly did restrict calories growing up. I, a lot of times, did not eat because that was what was known of. You don't get enough calories in, you're going to lose weight, you're going to stay skinny. I didn't give into it as much of a lot of people that we might know have, but guys, it was there. I mean, that whole stigma of you have to fit this mold in the 80s and in the early 90s was crazy. Kate Moss, you guys probably don't even know who that is, but she was a supermodel that was so unbelievably thin, and she was on the cover of everything. And there's women and men watching this podcast right now that are like shaking their heads like, oh my gosh, I remember her. So, it's restricting calories for me didn't last long. I'm a performance athlete. I mean, I would come home, and I was fortunate enough that I was so active that I mean, I have to say with Scotty, the seafood diet, I pretty much saw food and I ate it. I was fortunate to have a
It's a great diet.
metabolism that, yeah, that when I was growing up, I would come home from practice, and the best was when you walked in from practice and your mom was cooking a huge dinner. Like I
Oh,
just,
oh yeah.
oh, it was the best feeling ever. My mom did that all the time. And I ate a lot of food. I did. And I was just lucky enough that I had the activity to support it.
Right.
I've also tried, the whole being a vegan, a vegetarian, and I totally respect that lifestyle. And I do mix a lot of that into my own, but I couldn't go total. I just couldn't. I lost a lot of muscle when I tried to do that. It just, my body did not like it at all. I never, even though I was in the Weight Watchers era, I never tried Weight Watchers. We'll talk about that later on. But right now, I would say this is probably, not probably, it is the healthiest relationship I've had with food. I do macro counting, and I do work with a coach that helps me with that. And, the macro counting is, figuring out your grams and total calories of the macronutrients, which are essential nutrients your body needs: protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So it includes weighing or measuring every little thing that I eat. I use an app, MyFitnessPal, but there's other apps like My Macros, or macro apps out there. There's a ton of them out there. And
First
I
one.
really, is this First Form have one? Do you have
That's
a
what I
macro?
use.
Oh,
yeah.
cool. Yeah, cool. So I track my macros. I make sure that, my coach, I work closely with her, which, guys, just to back up a little bit, no matter what nutrition plan or diet or however that works for you, talk to your doctor, talk to a coach, get somebody to help you with this, because it really does make it that much easier and enjoyable and hold you accountable. So yeah, and I do a little fasting as well, but
Mhm.
I only really fast from anywhere from 4:45 to 5 p.m. to about 4:45 to 5 a.m. So I do a fast while I sleep at night, because I do know all the benefits of my body regenerating, like cells and gut health with fasting. So that is something that I do work in. It does help me sleep better if I get my food in earlier. And again, it's all individualized. Some of these things might not work for everybody. This is just what works for me. And I really do love my macros. Like, I love healthy food. Now, what is the downfall of if it fits my macros? We tend to sometimes eat whatever we want. Okay, pizza, fries, and it doesn't matter the nutritional value. So in 2021, I really did a skim of my food. I really did fine tune what I was eating, what chemicals, what processed foods I was taking in. So in 2021, I'm happy to say I really got rid of a lot of foods that were processed, a lot of foods that were not whole foods. So I pretty much eat, if I had to pick a percentage, 95% whole foods at this time,
Wow.
which has been amazing for me on how I feel and my energy levels and my performance in the gym and the way that I'll look on stage in the spring. And it really has been amazing. I really dove into the Food Babe. The Food Babe, Graham, check her out. She's amazing. I read her book, The Food Babe Way. And she totally changed my perspective on, if it fits my macros, what am I fitting in my macros? What are these foods doing for me? How are they serving me? It feels so good. And I think in 2022, I'm going to look at some other things and some other foods that I want to add in that I'm not already adding in, so that I can keep on living a healthy lifestyle. You two don't have to worry about this, but aging is happening. It's happening to you guys too, just at a lot slower rate.
Catching
So
up.
yeah, well, what foods can I do to keep performing as an athlete in my mid 40s? That's my ultimate goal. That's one of my goals in 2022. How can I keep performing as an athlete in my mid 40s? There you go.
I feel
Love
that. That was golden.
Oh yeah. All right. So I know we did touch base on a couple of fad diets, where we kind of say what we tried and kind of what we heard. So now we're kind of going to go into just maybe like 2 or 3 fad diets that we've either hear often that we think are kind of ridiculous, or maybe just kind of like touch on something, maybe like something that's new. And we'll get into that. There's one thing I wanted to say about fad diets is just because it's a fad doesn't mean you have to try it. Just gonna throw that out there. Just because it's a fad doesn't mean you have to try. You don't have to try every diet. Yeah, you might have to do like process elimination with some things to see kind of like what works for you best. But
Right.
just because
Always.
it's fad, just because your friends are doing it, or your friends are jumping off a bridge, are you gonna do it too? You know, right? Let's
Man, spoken like a true parent.
Right. You're ready, Scotty. You ready,
You're
bro?
I'm ready, right? I'm ready.
Scotty.
I'm proud of myself. Got the dad hat on and everything. I'm good.
Yeah, you looking daddish today, man.
Dadish.
If you guys ever tell me I'm looking momish, it's
Not
over.
monish.
It's over. Momish.
Amish.
Momish.
What about Amish?
Not Amish. Momish.
Do you want us to let you know if you're looking Amish though?
By the way, I totally respect your lifestyle. Talk about eating healthy and unprocessed foods.
Oh man.
Man, could you imagine living there? Well, a weekend. I could probably last a weekend, but all the foods and the farming and all the, yes, please. Yes.
It'd be longing for Rumpenstein or whatever that week is where they can just do whatever they want.
Scotty would be counting down the days to that week. When can we break
Right.
free? When breaking Amish?
Right. All right. So I want to go into a little bit about paleo diet, also called the Paleolithic diet, or also the caveman diet. All right. So we're talking about kind of super strict, kind of it's bringing us back to the Stone Age back in the day, where basically you only, like before farmers and stuff like that, we only had meats like fish. Basically, if it could walk, fly, or swim, it's basically kind of like what you ate. You basically try to avoid grains, legumes like beans, dairy, sugar, potatoes, or anything that's highly processed. So basically, sorry, I have my notes here. It's basically the modern diet. They say it's mismatched with how people, like how they actually should eat, because when farmers started doing everything, that's when they started processing the wheat and making bread and incorporating dairy. And people say dairy isn't good for you because it causes inflammation in the body and like all these things. So people started doing the paleo diet because yes, you have benefits such as losing weight. It can reduce your blood fats and cholesterol, improve heart health, stuff like that. And you're not putting as much processed foods into your body. But there could be some cons with it as well. One, when I was kind of like doing a little bit more research on it, it's like super expensive because you're eating all this like grass-fed meat and the super lean food that is fresh. And I feel like one thing that's kind of like tough in our society today is that like healthy foods are expensive to an extent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if unless you're going and getting it yourself or going out and hunting it and doing certain things, people have to do that. So that rises the price for a lot of things. So doing a diet like that can be relatively expensive because you're not buying stuff that's prepackaged and that you can store in the fridge or store in your cabinets for a long period of time. And then basically it's hard for vegetarians because you're not eating any beans. I know beans is a big part of being a vegetarian. You add it into a lot of things. It's a good source of carbs right there as well. But you're also going to feel more sluggish and run down because you're not getting the grains or the dairy that you normally would. That's a lot of your energy right there. A lot of carbs come from that. So you can almost say that paleo kind of fits in with keto a little bit because it's kind of less in the carbs. So it's going to put you in that state of ketosis. And like I said, with the ketones and all that, help you use fat as fuel instead of carbs. And then I wouldn't suggest it if you are an athlete or you're working out often because you're going to feel kind of run down. And for athletes, you need 3-6 grams of carbs per pound of body weight per day. Like you need that energy to kind of get you through your day and through your workouts. So That's my take on paleo. Obviously, like if you have problems with like low blood sugar and insulin issues, like paleo diet could be a good way for you to go. But like I said, it's kind of like a fad diet. People are just kind of do it because it's kind of like popular and it's super organic and super healthy for you. But I think if you're an athlete, I would try to stay away from that one a little bit. And then the other one I want to get into, it's fairly new, probably the past year. I know a lot of people have been talking about it mainly because of Joe Rogan. It's the carnivore diet. And let me retract. I meant to say fly, swim, or walk for this one, not for the paleo diet, because obviously you're having vegetables and fruits for the paleo. This one, it's strictly supposed to be whatever comes from an animal. Obviously, there's some like different ways you can go about it. Some people will only eat the meat. Some people will only eat chicken, stuff like that. And then other people will say, well, you can also have things that come from an animal, like eggs, lard, bone marrow, butter, stuff like that as well. I recently went to Summer Smash, First Form's like once a year party where anyone can go if you buy a ticket. And I met a fellow Legionnaire and her boyfriend, or sorry, husband at the Kevin, level 3 CrossFit coach, was on a carnivore diet because he was doing 75 hard and you had to follow a diet for 75 days. And he chose a carnivore diet. So basically he was just eating meat, eating chicken, fish, like all 75 days. And he told me like the first couple of weeks, well, like, it was pretty rough, but like he leaned out, like he lost so much weight.
Right.
He was eating like 4,000 calories of like protein almost, because you're not really getting much carbs in. You know what I mean? You can get your fat still, you know what I mean? Because you can eat high fatty like meat, stuff like that. So you're still getting those kind of fats in. But dude said he was fine. He felt great. He went to the doctor. They said he had high cholesterol, but the doctor was dumbfounded because his cholesterol was high, but everything that comes with high cholesterol was all low. So they were like what? Like this isn't supposed to be right. So they were like kind of really confused. And like the pros, like it's an anti-inflammatory diet for people with autoimmune conditions. It could also be used as like a short-term elimination diet. So if you're trying to figure out things that are bothering you, kind of sticking like with just a carnivore diet and then maybe slowly incorporating other things, you can kind of figure out maybe what's causing you to have like irritable bowel syndrome and stuff like that.
And food allergies for sure. Yeah.
And food allergies. Yeah. If you have any kind of food intolerance. Couple cons for that one, I would say, is missing fiber. You're not really getting too much fiber with only eating animal products. So that could probably maybe have problems with digestion. And then obviously risk of heart disease because you're increasing your saturated fat. So those are kind of things I did there's not a lot of research on carnivore diet. So there's kind of just what people have been kind of going about because it's been a recent fad diet, especially since Joe Rogan said it. His podcast is super popular. So he does, everyone's going to try it, you know? But those are my two fad diets. Like, are they going to be super like have a negative impact on you? I don't think so, but I would just be mindful if you did ever try to use either of them. All right, Prince, what you got?
Man, so dude, man, you know, I kind of live by that like philosophy of to each his own, you know what I mean? But that said, there are diets that like I'll have questions about or will definitely catch my attention. The carnivore diet, I smile really big, man, because I actually like the sound of that. I might try that out. You know what I mean? I might, you know, for a little bit, you know, see what works. But outside of that, man, I'll say the keto. That is one I feel like that's been like on the rise for the past few years. And just from my knowledge, man, I think it is very beneficial. Long term, I feel like it brings about concerns in the sense of like, you know, brain and central nervous system needing like carbs to properly function. And, you know, I guess in the long term, it would probably like revert muscle back to kind of get that carb for those two systems. But outside of that, like, I feel like it's definitely like a big fat diet and like something that people like rep, which is pretty interesting. I feel like, you know, go hard about what you love, man. But I would say keto is probably the one that has definitely caught my attention the most, or anything that is like anti-carb. You know, I feel like a lot of times what happens is like people don't have the proper education or knowledge of like exactly functions of what a carb does and just nutrition it's in and of itself, to where like, you know, information is out there and people just throw something out there and they're like, oh yeah, that's right, you know. And kind of like you said, like you don't have to do every diet that comes up, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I said to each his own, because I feel like you got to choose what works specifically for you, because some of these diets can be good and have benefits, like the carnivore diet, but I do like that you mentioned the cons of it, the potential cons. And so that said, you got to figure out, okay, like what's sustainable for me to become the best version of myself, you know what I mean? And for me to achieve the goals that I have in this area of my life. So I got a small take on it. And I'd say the biggest thing I go with is just do what works for you, do your research. Definitely, like Ann said, ask somebody, get a coach. Like it never hurts to get outside help, especially if that's their department. Because even as fitness professionals, like Angie has so much skin in the game, it's crazy, but she is still seeking out help. So for anybody that feels like it's an ego thing or like you can't seek out help in something, man, people are there to help. You know what I mean? So that part, but that's my take on as far as like fat diets, you know?
Yeah, you're definitely right. Obviously do what works best for you. Like you won't know until you try, but like also be mindful, weigh out the pros and cons before doing it, and also see like a health profession. Because if you're worried about it, then ask someone who knows the risk that could be at hand for it. All right, Ange, what are your favorite fad diets?
Right. So, yeah, guys, going back to that, like a coach, a doctor, like, you know, check the ego out the door, check it at the door. Because when it comes to changing your body and your health, like it takes time. It takes time. It's not done in a day. It's not done in a week. It's not done in 30 days, you know, depending on how specific and big your goals are. So be patient. You know, Jim Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, when making plans, think big. When thinking results, think small. It's going to eliminate the frustration that you have thinking that this diet or this meal plan, or, oh, I've been working with a coach for a week, why haven't I lost 10 pounds? It's going to take that out of that. Therefore, you're invested, because you have to be invested in your health. You have to be invested in your work, right? You know, you didn't graduate college and, you know, be the top of your company the first day. You have to take time to invest in yourself and your health. You know, you have to, you know, find a plan that works for you and your schedule. But also, too, it has to be healthy and reasonable. Okay. Reasonable, meaning you are getting health benefits from it. Okay. Because really, in my opinion, with my age, my experience, and what I've been through, you know, being an athlete, okay, everybody wants to look good, but you want to look good inside also. You got organs and tissues and things that need to be nurtured through good nutrition. Okay, it's not just all about looking good in a bikini. It's about being, you know, taking care of these precious organs that we have inside of us that are so fragile. You know, think about some of the things that you're putting in your body. Think about how the soft tissues in the stomach, the liver and the kidneys, and how precious, if you were to hold them in your hands, how delicate they are. How are we treating them? So I would really want you to stop and think about that. We have a joke in my family. I love getting medical tests done. This sounds crazy. I got a colonoscopy this time last year, and I said to the doctor, I was like, I just want you to tell me how pretty my colon is. Please tell me it's gorgeous. Tell me that you know, I had to get an ultrasound done. I was like, tell me how beautiful my organs are, because that is really what it comes down to. I always joke, and doctors look at me. I always say, I want to be your easiest patient today. I want to be your easiest patient today. That's always my goal. So think about your organs and how you're taking care of them. So with that said, we talked about Weight Watchers. I think the benefits of Weight Watchers are it's reasonably priced. It's good for the person who just isn't, you know, there to, you know, really dissect what are they eating. Maybe they're busy. Okay. Now, Weight Watchers is on points. So you get a certain number of points based on what you're choosing. Does it have more protein or more fiber? I'm hoping people on Weight Watchers choose the healthier side of food. But the downfall of Weight Watchers is you can choose whatever you want. And honestly, guys, the Weight Watchers foods that they put out there are full of sodium and chemicals and processed foods. Are they the healthiest? No. So I encourage that if you are doing Weight Watchers, which I think is a great program, you have your meetings, you have an app, you're accountable. I think that's golden. You have celebrities that, hey, some people may look to them for inspiration to say, hey, look, Oprah did it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of some other people that did it. And so they look at these celebrities like, if they can do it, I can do it. And I like that aspect. However, you still have to put the work in. It's not because you were a member at Weight Watchers does the weight fall off. You have to do the work. Okay. So I think that's important. I also want to touch on Whole30, which I didn't talk about, Scotty. I forgot to mention that one.
Oh, yeah.
I am a fan of Whole30. I'm a fan of real whole foods from the ground up. If it has a mother or comes from the ground, it's good to go. Okay, so think about
I like
that.
Whole30 too.
Yes, I do like Whole30. I did Whole30 for not a long time, but for a while. I totally forgot to mention that. And it totally changed my health. I actually work a lot of that into my macro counting at this point. The downside of Whole30 is it's time consuming because you're cooking everything. There's no quick bar typically or a shake, like everything is cooked. So it can be expensive and it is time consuming. But guys, let's be real. Any nutrition program that you follow, it should be time consuming at a certain point because you're taking the time to invest in yourself. If you don't make time, if you don't make time to take care of yourself, you better make time to be sick.
Yep.
You gonna pay.
So yeah.
Yeah, right.
What's it gonna be? So, okay. So macro counting, we talked about, that's what I do. Weight Watchers, pros and cons. Whole30, I touched on that. But guys, I don't even want to give this fad diet much attention because I can't believe that there's somebody, okay. Viewers out there, if you know someone who has done this diet, please contact us because I got questions. I got a lot of questions. The tapeworm diet, like I just thought that was a joke. If someone ate a lot of food and they didn't gain weight, what do you have, a tapeworm? Like I thought that was a joke all the time. But apparently in 2021, it's not a joke anymore. Okay, so now we can swallow a pill with tapeworm eggs inside. When the tapeworm hatches, it grows inside you. You lose weight because it eats your unnecessary or the extra calories that you're consuming.
Where does the tapeworm go? It just stays there.
Stays there.
Man, it's crazy. Just the psychology of things. Like, yeah.
I didn't realize it was present. I thought this was older. I didn't know this was like a recent one. That's crazy. People are still doing this.
I don't know. I don't know. That's what I want to know. Our viewers out there, are people still doing this? I hope not. I hope it was just remember, anybody can put anything on the internet, and hopefully it's not something that people still do, but hey, in today's world, who the heck knows? But I hope that the human race is smarter than that. I hope so.
We're trying to elevate. We're trying to elevate them.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. All right. Don't get a tapeworm. Don't eat it. Don't do it.
Don't eat it. Don't do it.
Because also, like I was reading some negative effects on it. Like it doesn't just eat your extra. It just eats everything. So you're not getting any nutrients. So nothing's getting absorbed into your bloodstream that's going to help you. So you're going to be deficient in almost every vitamin, every mineral. And then they say, like, sometimes you could pass it. 9 out of 10 times they say you have to go to the hospital and they have to remove it.
And you can't control what organ or where this tapeworm attaches itself to.
Right.
Gross. No thanks. But here's the bottom line, guys. Take your time. It's about dedication. It's about being consistent. That's the only way. I know in 2022 coming up, we got a couple weeks. Everyone is going to be looking or evaluating their health or their bodies. And, there's a lot of these diets that are going to be starting in the new year. And, we just encourage you guys, like, I don't care what it is. It's dedication, time. You've got to invest the time.
And you got to put the work in. You got to put the work in. You got to show up for yourself.
Put the work in.
You got to do it. Like, for real. Don't honestly, it's none of this stuff is easy. That's like this, and this is so cliche to say, but none of it is easy, which is why not everyone has it, but it is possible. All right. But it's truly a choice, and it's a choice every day that like you have to reaffirm and reconfirm, and you gotta, whatever it is, whatever it may be, whether it's your diet, whatever it is. But seriously though.
Right.
Yeah, definitely tough love. If you have something coming up, you want to plan it out. Don't wait till the last minute, because then you'll be like, oh crap, and then you'll try to rush something. Then you'll do a silly fad diet, and then you're going to be more miserable. Like that's what it comes down to. Like, oh, I got a bachelorette party coming up. I got to be in a bikini. Oh crap, it's only 2 weeks away. I'm going to starve myself for like 4 days, or I'm going to do a juice cleanse, or I'm going to do something like this. Like, no, like plan it out. Start it now. You want to get in shape. You want to lose weight. Start it now. Stop putting it off. Oh, cat. Sorry.
Oh, look
What's
at
up,
that,
Gohan?
precious.
I was trying to stop him from getting on here.
Oh, no, we welcome.
So,
But,
so
and you know,
basically-
guys, you like treat your body like a business. Like there are no quick get rich schemes out there. They don't work. Okay. You know, they only, it only works in business if you work. Like your body's the same way. I think Prince said like he likes to, look at his body like his checking account, like his food, like what's going in, what's like,
No,
like
seriously.
what. Right. So, you need to really raise your standards of yourself, elevate like to what you want to take yourself to health wise. And I think more than ever right now, we have to be worried about that and concerned about.
True.
Yeah.
Yo,
no one's going to do the work for you.
No, somebody said this recently, and I mean, I was like, that's deep. It's stating the obvious, but it's just deep. And he said that a person should know that their body is their their second best weapon, or their best weapon behind their mind. You know what I mean? Like, so right after the mind, it's the body. That's your equipment. You equip with it. You know what I mean? So you got to take care of it.
Yeah, you only get one.
Yep, you only get one. Well, who knows these days? Who knows what
could be a
kind of
shape
technology they got? The whole world to clone. All right.
Got this new body.
So basically, kind of going.
Can we handle two Scotties? Can we handle two Scotties?
The other one's gonna have the beard shape. It's gonna be baby face like me.
We're a baby face guy. Can't grow hair. Just gonna be
Oh my gosh, your alter ego. We could have two Scotties. The shaved Scotty, the bearded Scotty.
All right. Before we go too far off, healthy habits, healthy diets. I know all three of us do it. We count our calories. We macro count. We make sure we're getting in. I know the most important thing about macro counting is the protein in your calorie goal. All right. It's hard to say like how much carbs you should have. Obviously, you can kind of figure it out and be like, all right, cool. If I'm having this many calories or this many grams of carbs, I'm gaining weight. That probably means you're carb intolerant, which means you might have to bring your carbs down a little bit. Not saying cut them out completely. Like you need carbs for energy, and then kind of up your fats a little bit because that helps with absorption. And plan out where you're getting your protein. Your protein you should be having literally once you wake up to when you go to sleep. You should be having it with almost every meal that you have throughout the day. And then try to have your carbs more so around your workouts. All right. Because before your workout, you're going to need the energy. After your workout, you need to fill those stores, those energy stores that you just used. So the protein doesn't get used to go into those stores instead. Go through this whole thing called gluconeogenesis. Don't want to get too technical on y'all, but don't waste your protein after your workout by not getting carbs in after your workout. Do you guys, and then just try to stay away from processed food as much as possible. Try not to eat out too much. Obviously, there's conveniency in someone who has a very busy schedule. But if you have a day that you're off, meal prepping. How long would that take you, Ange, on a consistent basis? If you did a meal plan for the whole week, how long would it take?
Right. So you know what I would say for me with food prepping, because I always try to have a goal of cooking my protein fresh for dinner for my family. That's a goal of mine that I've been doing a great job at it because I want to spend that time in the kitchen, and I never really liked to cook, and I'm really starting to like it more. So my goal is to cook a protein fresh for dinner, and then I pre-make my breakfast and get that ready to go each day. But I would say an hour, hour and a half, maybe a week it takes me to get everything together. And I have my food situated that a lot of things are quick, like oatmeal and egg whites in the morning. I have an apple that I pack. I have a banana. I have my rice that I make. You know, that's probably the most time consuming, but that's just because it sits on the stove and I make it fresh.
Mhm.
And, grilling the meats, having, making sure I take out things to thaw out. Okay. Measuring out my cashews, like these things, I'm making sure, I'm measuring out my almond butter. Okay. My spinach, my blueberries. And I do all of that as my day goes on. But again, I have created my meal plan so specific and so easy for my life that it's not even an issue anymore. So if you are in macros or you are in a meal plan, create it specifically to work in your schedule, because that's what I did with mine. And now it's like, bam, 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 let's go. Like I can be ready to take her to a soccer practice or a game, and I can grab my apple, put it on the scale. I can grab a banana, weigh it out real quick, and I'm ready to rock. So I've created that because that's what I need in my life. And I encourage anyone to do the same, is make your meal plan to serve you.
Mhm.
That's important.
Exactly, because you're counting your calories. So basically, if you're putting yourself in a caloric deficit, you know what you need. If you're maintaining, you know what you need. And if you want to change it to build muscle and put on some more weight, then you can do that as
Yes.
well. So
And that's important. Yeah, that's a really important topic, Scotty, because you have to change it, to manipulate it. And it takes some time to figure out what works for you. Through a couple of years of working with my coach, my body loves carbohydrates. You guys may pass out if I tell you how many carbs I'm still on in my prep, my cut phase. Like, it's crazy. My body loves carbs, but we found that through trial and error. We really did.
Yeah, and that's how you go about it. Like, hit your protein, count your calories, check your carbs, and then even if like it's something that you can't do all the time, it'd be a good baseline to have. So like I'm not counting my macros right now, but when I had everything dialed in. So when I did stop, it was a habit. I would have my protein waffles. I would have my yogurt with my granola. I would have my eggs. I would have my protein bar. I'd have my meat at night, my chicken. Everything was weighed out. I knew exactly what I needed, but I didn't have to count it for a little bit. And I maintained that weight for a while because I was hitting everything on point. Boom, boom, boom. And then the wedding happened, and then I kind of just indulged. So I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit.
It's okay. We forgive you.
Seriously, bro. That happened to me with Thanksgiving, man. Yeah. All right. I'll throw something in there. Yeah. That happened to me with Thanksgiving. But definitely I would say I think a lot of it boils down like to even like the foundation of having that strong mentality and just like things being habitual, kind of like Scotty said. Like he was like, I began tracking and doing this for so long to where now like it's just my life. I wake up and I do this. And that happened to me with like the military and getting up early. It just naturally happens. So like I think a lot of it is turning things into habits. And the best way to do that is to truly evaluate yourself, what you should do, yearly, weekly, anytime you feel necessary. And like, look at like, okay, yeah, I could replace this bad habit of this with a good habit. And that's how we create that transition. But outside of that, I would say having an idea, like really looking at yourself like, okay, yeah, man, like let me view myself differently to where like I'm golden. Let me have this vision or this what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, man. Let me just have this image of myself as just
standard. Raise your
this
standard of yourself.
This image of where like, like I only put quality in this body. Like when you got a Mercedes, you're not gonna go put 87 in it. You know what I mean? Like or whatever. So like I gotta put quality in this body and let me find out what that is. You know what I mean? And work toward that. So that's my take on as far as like healthy habits and whatnot. Make it all habitual. Like make it your lifestyle. Like live it. Especially if it's you and it's about you. Like live that. All of that.
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Do you?
Nutrition is 80% of reaching your health and fitness goals, like 80%. It's a huge part of it. So if you're not dedicating enough time to it, I suggest you start, because it really is what's going to help you be better physically and better in your health.
Yes.
100%.
All right, guys. Really hope you guys got some good information from us. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're all three of us are pretty well knowledgeable when it comes to nutrition. If you have questions, just let us know. Please reach out. We want feedback. We want questions. We want to be able to help you. We want to elevate you to become a better you.
Right, 100%. We do want to help.
So am I missing anything right now? Are we?
That's good. Good stuff.
We got anything left? Do you have any words for us, the Prince?
Oh, you want me to give some words, man? I didn't have anything written down, but
what comes to mind? I know you got it. I know you got it up there.
I'll say this, man. Me and my wife were talking about just energy and investments, like just along the ride back home, and just thinking about like what you invest your energy into. And even when you feel like, okay, like, you know, like I'm investing my energy into this, but it doesn't really matter. Like you are taking away from energy that can be invested into something that you do care about. So evaluate your energy and be wise with that investment. It's so important. Like, and we were just talking about like, you know, at the end of the day, if I feel tired and I feel drained, I want to know that like I'm tired and I'm drained because I spent that energy and that time worth something that truly mattered. And that's the mindset I'm on today, man. So those are my wise words. I hope that helps somebody or it means something to someone, because like me just reevaluating my life, which I do very often because I want to stay consistent with that, is just evaluating how I expend my energy. It's so important. It's so important.
Good vibes only. All right. So we always like to end it off with what we are using to work out this week or past week.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let us know also if you guys have been liking this. If you guys are putting it into your playlist, maybe send a screenshot, tag us in it as well. We'd love to see that you guys are enjoying our music taste, or let us know. Be like, hey, Scotty, your music taste is trash. Like, just let you know.
Dude, that's a great idea.
I'll take it.
Like send a video of you working out to one of the songs that we
Yes.
sang. If that's what you do. Like send that through. Like, you know what I mean? We'll repost it. Like tag us. You know, something.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So this week, this was actually I think my most played song in 2020 according to Spotify, is On My Mind by Diplo and Side Piece. House song, deep house. It starts off kind of just like you're feeling it, and then it just, I don't know, it just gets moving. It gets you in the mood.
Bro, you got me on that song. You put me on that song. You do, yeah.
I love it.
All right, I need to add it.
Yeah,
yep,
Scotty,
On My Mind by Diplo.
Scotty, you're gonna in your next venture, you're gonna own, like, you're gonna get dance clubs back up and running. You already got that vibe. I'll be there.
I'll be there. Right. Ooh, if we can get Ange there, you doing something, bro.
You know what? And it's a fun fact about Angie, like everyone cares, but dancing, that is my thing. Like I told you guys, I was pounding a protein shake and the designated driver, and I danced the night away. Like I literally we would go dancing. Like that's what you did growing up in the 90s. You went to clubs, you went dancing. Like I didn't go there to drink, I went there to dance. So if Jennifer Lopez is watching this, hit me up as a backup dancer. I'm available.
Hey. I'm here.
Yeah.
All right. My song,
what you got? What you rocking too?
Dude, man, this song is like my theme song, bro. Like I stumbled upon it at this spot I worked for in Seattle called East Lake Performance. Shout out to Paul, one of the realest owners I've ever known. But anyway, I used to make fun of me for playing just instrumentals and chill hop music, but that was my thing. But this song came up and it's so upbeat, man. Like, and it's like my theme song. So y'all got to listen to it. But I believe the artist, and it's spelled, I believe it's called Grammatic. All right. Gramatik. So I think Grammatic, whatever you want to call it, but it's called Chillaxin by the Sea. It's a dope song. It was actually in one of my most recent posts on Instagram, but it's a dope song, man. It's like, it's mission music. That's what I'm gonna call it. It's mission music.
Oh, I like that. Very good.
All right, Ange.
All
right. So one
What
of
mood
the
were
things
you in?
that's funny. You already say that. So one of the things I've been working on the past week is increasing the intensity of my high intensity interval training. Does that make sense? Increasing the
Yes, it
intensity
does.
of it. Yes.
More
So
intensity.
yes. So the beats in Falling Away by Seven Lions. Love that song. It gets me going because now's the time I need to start bumping it up a notch. And it's been working.
Okay.
And it's been working. So
Oh.
I'm loving Falling Away by Seven Lions.
Falling
All
Away.
right.
Awesome. I haven't heard either
Check
of
that
those,
out.
so I'm definitely gonna add those to the list and bump out to them maybe even today. All right, guys.
Cool.
Well, today was great.
Lance got that.
We talked about a lot of good points. Talked about a lot of bad diets, maybe things to stay away from, maybe things to try if you're kind of looking for something new. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to us. All right, we want to elevate you to be a better person. We want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your training, the most out of your life, and so you can give the most to the world and to your family and to yourself.
Right. Like you are an
Yes, I love
investment.
that.
Y'all, everybody watching this, y'all are an investment. All right. We invest in y'all with our time, and then y'all invest that back into the world, and it just recycles. All right.
Love it. All right, cool. If you guys want to catch us on social media, you can catch myself at Sky the Body on Instagram and Prince and I on 3 Dope Individuals.
You catch me at Train Like Prince on all platforms, 3 Dope Individuals as well on Instagram, Elevate the World podcast on YouTube. So that's where you can catch us all at, you know?
Yep. And I'm Ange Fit on Instagram. And guys, I think that's the only one that I'm on. And of course, our YouTube, Elevate the World. But like, share, subscribe. And again, I just want to thank everyone for all that they've given us these first couple podcasts.
100%, man. Yes.
Been loving it. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. All right. Make sure you get out there and deuces.
Hasta luego.
See ya.